number of their skill sets, and I think we're really fortunate to have such a good group of applicants.
I agree with you about that.
Is it open?
I don't know.
Not yet.
So,
Now it is open. Yep.
okay, so like I said, I agree with Jane. And I was impressed with people who had done their research about our system, what we've done and what we've been trying to do, rather than, try to wing it. So, but there were a couple of good choices. It's gonna be hard to kind of get it down. I don't know how we're gonna do that.
Well, I'm going to jump right in. And where's the official statement? I move that the Chatham County Board of Education approve Deborah Hittel as the candidate to fill the vacant board seat in District 1.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? I'll second it for discussion purposes.
If you're looking for a rationale of all 8 candidates, she is the only one that, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, she's the only one that connected the diversity of Chatham County schools and the uniqueness of being a bus driver or a custodian to a teacher, to this, to that, and connecting all the pieces that we're striving for to have. And if you're looking for a bucket list, she is a parent. She's been here for 12 years. But very personable.
And I agree with that. I mean, I have my little list, and she is on my list. But and I like that she was, seemed very down to earth, and she did make all of those connections that are important to me. She did make those connections, but I'm not willing to just go right into nominating somebody until we had a full discussion about it.
And
I like it though.
I agree with what you said, Mr. Ham, that those are some of the things that stood out about her as a candidate. I really liked that she was thinking about not just college-bound students, but students that might want to go immediately into the workforce and have skill sets that could, launch them. And I appreciate too what she said about different employees in the school system. I agree with you on those traits that I really liked. I mean, I think that's our challenge here, is that there are a number of people that would make really good board members.
Oh, yeah.
And so this is really a good problem to have.
And the thing,
But I don't necessarily have her as my final choice. But I agree with you, and I appreciated as I was listening to her talk and wrote down a lot of positive notes that made me drawn to her as well. But
there's the one thing, and one candidate made a comment that they, and very honest, and I really don't understand everything that the board does. Well, Gary and I worked in the school system our whole career, and working in the school system and being on the board were two different things. I mean, it was a learning experience from day one. but, I felt there was a connection of understanding that even though you have to live in District 1 to apply, that you're representing the entire county. And sometimes I don't think our parents out there understand that, because you'll see the emails I get, said, "You're my board member." Well, you're my board member, it's not because you live down the road from me and I'm in District 2. I'm Bennett's board member. I'm J.S. Waters. I'm everybody. And she's the only one that I felt that she made that connection and understanding that she's representing everybody.
I really thought they all were passionate about looking after our kids and our students. I don't know that, I would say that nobody else looked at the rest of the county. I didn't hear anyone say specifically District 1 or, who they were representing. I heard many or all of them say they were representing our students. I want our students to do well. And they mentioned several times the one Chatham, which is looking at all students, and I think I saw that in all of our candidates, as a matter of fact. So I don't know that I would say more so understanding the county. I think, as you said a while ago, David, it's a learning curve that you have to hit the floor running to start with as you get into the board meetings. So.
And everything that she did mention is the way that we all feel. So, I mean, anybody that's going to collaborate with us will end up feeling that way anyway. So, and another person I liked, but not enough to nominate, was Ms. Strong. I mean, she has educational background, personal educational background, and she works in higher education. And I feel like one of the connections that we don't have and have no way of getting is having a measure of what people in higher education need our children to know coming out of K-12 to be successful there. We don't know that. We just do the best that we can, and we don't know if it's enough when they get in college. And she would be able to shed some light on that, which would, be satisfactory. But like I said, I like that about her, but I don't like it enough to go ahead and make a nomination.
And I share some of your viewpoints about Ms. Strong as well. She brings expertise that is incredible, that expertise would be presented in front of us as a potential board member. I have 3 that I have honed into, but it's a semi-fluid thing, so I'm open to discussion about all these. She is one of the 3 I have in front of me that I'm contemplating, but she seems to me that she fully understands what the board role would be, and when she was talking about the breadth of issues that they've had to look at in the university setting, a lot of it I think is applicable in our types of things we consider. And so I was just impressed that we might have the opportunity to have someone with that kind of skill set in front of us, and it almost seems, it would be almost crazy to miss out on that. At the same time, I realize it's been, like that area of the county is very close to Chapel Hill, and there's nothing wrong with that, but maybe have less awareness of our whole county. And, coming from Siler City, I realize, how much it's easy to not understand the entirety of the county, but doesn't mean someone couldn't learn that. It would just be learned, and that's, then that may be a presumption on my part, because that would be a concern I have is, what is inherent understanding and what would need to be learned understanding, but her skill sets, I could see being really helpful to our productivity as a board and school system. So that's what I agree on those aspects of her candidacy.
So.
Just a general question, did y'all do any additional research on any of the candidates? And, you know, the Google stuff and all that? Because, I think knowing some historical perspectives are very important. And that's just all I'm gonna say.
So, did you make a list, David? Or
Pardon?
did you make a list, or you just listened, then you just picked one?
I think she's talking about your list of candidates, if you just had one that you liked, or if you had multiple ones that you were considering. Is that what you're asking? I'm sorry to paraphrase for you.
Oh, I can live with several others, but I'm just saying, I felt she rose above the others, and not that in my viewpoint, second, third, or fourth wouldn't fulfill the job. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that I just felt that there was, yeah, I don't know. This is a weird process.
It is.
It's a very weird process.
It is.
I was sitting here thinking, you know, when I remember when I was running last time and we were all on Zoom and I was watching Mr. Winters, because they did the candidates all together at the same time, school board commissioners and whatnot, so you got to listen to everybody. It was harder doing that than this, answering these questions. You know, if we want, I was surprised, I'll just go ahead and say this, I've mentioned this to some people earlier, I was surprised that of all the candidates, none of them were a Chatham County graduate. I'm not saying that's a requirement. I'm surprised that none of them were. And if we went to one of our districts, it might be different that way. I mean, I understand that, but that's just a tidbit and an interesting fact that we've had candidates here since for 17 years and 13 months. I mean, that's and maybe some more than 17 years, but that's what I wrote down. But you know,
I guess if we're going to discuss further, we probably need to vote on this candidate first, Adam, or can we discuss that?
I don't think we have to.
So we think we're okay?
Yeah, or the motion can be withdrawn if you want to go back to a sort of a clean slate discussion.
So we can discuss?
You can discuss, you certainly can vote on the motion, but I think the discussion is germane to the motion, so you can just continue to discuss.
Okay.
Would it be helpful for each of us to talk about who we're considering and why? Would that be helpful to the process, or would it be helpful to speak of individual people? Or?
I was going to speak to an individual person anyway. That's what I was asking particularly. I really liked Julie Bridenstine. 2 kids in her system, or she was did also had a child in her system, one that was a graduate. I liked the idea that she was a guardian ad litem, the well-being of children. She mentioned 2 or 3 things in particular: meticulous in being prepared, and worked hard. And I think those are a couple of things that I think a good board member does. She mentioned her clients, and of course, with the guardian ad litem also had seen the education deficiencies when they fell behind, ended up, you know, not only that, but childhood events too that caused that. And the whole child, as far as not only in the classroom, just needed somebody there to help. So I liked her a lot.
She was on my list too.
Yes, me as well. And for some similar reason, I don't want to cut you off.
No point.
No, go ahead.
But for some of the similar reasons that you stated, I appreciate her attention to working on abuse and neglect cases and juvenile cases. She seems to, you know, have really spent her life, her career, focusing on the well-being of people or underserved communities, and that big picture that you talked about, her understanding of how education could, if it had done well, could have made a difference. And that's one of the things we're all about is, and her understanding even of prisoner legal services, you know, because I know there's some concern about that link. And so, but her dedication, and then she also has lived here and has kids in the school, so I think she would bring an inherent understanding of some of the challenges on a human level that many of our families face and kids face and teachers too. And so that insight, of course, I have a similar thematic background with her, so of course I'm aware of that shared interest. But she brings the legal perspective is something that I think is a skill set that, of course, Adam has. But I mean, it would be a unique skill set to the board. So if I think about balancing our skill sets,
And we've had lawyers on our board before. Karen.
yes,
Karen
right.
Russell.
So I want to look at it from highlighting our skill sets. It would create, she would bring something different. And,
Absolutely. She was a public defender too.
Correct.
right.
And that's what impressed me. You know, she
Well,
has
I
that
think-
public service.
And to speed the process, I agree with everything you're saying, so, you know, it's not do or die, or this person's right and that person's wrong. I can live with her. I'll withdraw my nomination,
Okay.
and let's move forward here.
Can I express interest in another thing, just for the sake of
It should-
talking about all this, as I don't know if this is on anybody else's list. I was also impressed with Mr. Calderon's energy and enthusiasm and creative ideas. Having lived in the Dominican Republic, I'm also aware that, a lot of people in the United States want to lump all of Latin America together to say that, but the Spanish Caribbean is very different from Mexico, and Central America is very different from South America, and sometimes those things, they're all lumped together in the Latina community, and I realize that's a grand sweeping generalization because Mexico itself is a huge country and very diverse. But his experience as a immigrant here, first generation kids, is something to note, as well as his enthusiasm for the school system and all of that. So he was on my list as well, but I don't know if anybody has 3 people on their list with this.
I had 4. So my 4th one, I like Mr. Meeks because he was humble, but he was confident, and he did his research on us.
And want to kids to have the experience that helped him when he was in school in South Carolina.
Yes. But since
I withdrew my nomination. I'll make a new one. I nominate Julie Bridenstine.
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 Yeah.
To complete this District 1 board seat.
I'll second that. Now there's discussion. I know Ms. Laddick, Melissa brought a lot to our board. Business sense, she was able to say things that got right to the point, redirect, and I see, you know, a lot of that in Ms. Bridenstine. I think one of the comments she made at the end of her question time was, she wants to listen to our people in our schools. And that's, you know, that's not only our staff, that's our students, that's our parents, that's our community members. I think that's a little bit of everybody. I think they all brought that. I don't, you know, I just was really impressed with her. Pardon? All right, Ms. Turner's calling the question, or telling me to call the question, so we're good.
Well,
Okay.
I'll just note that I do think it's interesting that each of us have her on our list. And each of us find merit in the other candidates.
Very much so.
We have some variation, but that seems to be, from what I'm gathering, one that everybody has on your list. That makes sense to me.
All right,
Faster than I thought.
all in favor of Julie Bridenstine as our new District 1 Board of Education member, say aye. Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed, like sign? Okay. Can we ask our candidates to come in, I guess? I guess that'd be the next step with that.
Making me change my lens.
Y'all come on in. Thank y'all for being so patient. Thank y'all for your patience with us. I can't thank you enough for the expertise, the dedication you brought to the table just to apply and go through the interview process with us. The board has had our discussion deliberation and voted to ask or to appoint Julie Bridenstine as our District 1 school board member for the unexpired term. Thank you all so much, and we just appreciate all you do with our schools now, and if there's ever anything that we can do to help you, please don't hesitate to reach out. And congratulations to Julie, so we thank you for that. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor with an aye? Aye. Thank y'all very much.
Hey, nice thing, I actually grew up in New York City with a bunch of